11b4. So we said last time, if you have a house that has an entrance to another alleyway, he has an entrance on Main Street, he wants to open another entrance on Wall Street. So we said if it was closed, that door to Wall Street was sealed, but he never broke the frame, he's allowed to reopen it, and people on Wall Street cannot complain because he always had the right, because there was always a door frame there. But if he sealed it and broke the door frame, so then he lost his right to open that door again to that street. And this is on the last line, 11b4 on the right. Amar le Abaye le Rava, Abaye said to Rava, Tana mesayeh lach. I have a Braita that supports this ruling that it depends on if he broke the frame or not. Because it says in the Braita, 12a1, Baitzatum, the owner of a house whose entrance to a courtyard was sealed, Yesh lo arba amot. He's still entitled to 4 amot in front of that entrance when the courtyard is divided, even though it's sealed. Baratzit petzima, but if he broke down the frame, then he doesn't get arba amot. En lo arba amot. He doesn't get 4 amot in front of that door when they split the courtyard. Why? Because once you break the frame, that shows that you lost the right to that entrance. And since you lost the right to that entrance, you also don't get 4 amot in front of that entrance in the courtyard.
Why did he have that original entrance in the first place?
So when he bought the house, he closed it. He broke the frame and he closed the wall. And then later, he wanted to reopen it again. So since he closed it, the neighbors all have rights to claim now that you relinquished your right to have that entrance since you closed it.
What about if some houses, they have the decor as the frame of the houses? You know, like...
Yeah. Some have non-functioning doors.
No. It's
Some have
just
non-functioning
the decor
floors.
as a frame to couple outside of the house. So is that considered as a frame?
Yes.
So you have like a couple entrance and
Yes.
you need to have...
Yes. You can open it technically if you wanted to. Yes. Okay. Says the Gemara. Now.
I have a problem.
Yes.
My problem is that door that he closed out but left the frame. He had to open up that second door. He was using it. Now 2 years later, he comes back to the original door. Who allowed him to do the first door in the first place?
No. It has to be.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
When they built the house, they built it with 2 doors. This guy bought the house and he closed 1 door and he sealed it. He broke the frame and he sealed it. Now he has Zachmat later. He wants to reuse that entrance. They can claim against it. Oh, that's it. You lost it. Says the Gemara. Second paragraph on the left side. I'm skipping a little bit because there's parentheses. Baitzatum 12a1. Baitzatum eino metame kol svivav. If you have a house with a corpse inside, whose entrance is sealed, it does not make tameh anybody who approaches within 4 amot of it from all sides. Yeah. Number 3, the sages impose tumah on anyone who approaches within 4 amot of a grave. You hear this? Kohanim. This is very important. If you're in a graveyard, even if you don't touch the grave, you're already 4 amot within 6 to 8 feet of the grave. This also gives tumah. Okay.
So
why?
Why they saying
How is it?
Because they make a fence over there, so you're not. They say that you're not considered. It's not considered the same area. But if there's no fence and it's just open and you're within 6 feet of the grave, so then they say it gives tumah.
Something about the Rabbi Nachman, they're saying he's so deep inside.
But we learned previously,
Right.
as long as you have a 1 foot of space between the casket, let's say.
Right.
There is no tumah going on. We said that originally.
From the Torah, that's true. But the rabbis, the sages added extra tumah.
The rabbi have the tumah. Us like what?
Any dead body gives off tumah. You can get tumah from a dead body.
Yeah, but today we don't have that because today we all tameh.
That's true, but Kohanim are obligated to not allow themselves to become tameh. Or let's say they used to have terumah, right? Your Kohanim are commanded to not let terumah become tameh. So they have to be careful where they go. Because if they next to a corpse, they make the terumah tameh and they can make themselves tameh, which is a sur. Okay, so the sages impose tumah on anybody who approaches within 4 amot of a grave, so that people who handle food that they wish to maintain in a state of tahara would not inadvertently stand over the grave itself and become scripturally unclean. As long as the tomb has an entrance, even one that is sealed, it is not considered a grave, and only someone standing opposite the entrance within 4 amot is rendered tameh. If the tomb is sealed and the door frame is removed, however, the tomb is considered a large closed grave, and it renders tameh anyone who approaches within 4 amot of any side. So if the door is sealed but the frame is there, so only gives off tumah in front of the door. But if the door is broken and they sealed it, they got rid of the frame and there's no official door, so then the tomb gives tumah on all 4 sides. Number 4.
What door they're from?
Let's say you have a tomb, you have an entrance to a cave, to where the body is. So that whole area gives off tumah, even 4 amot in front of the door, the Gemara says.
Person laying down inside the ground. Somebody walking over him.
Hmm?
Same thing, no?
Hmm?
Some body in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
When I said there's a cave coming in,
Mhm.
the Bava is considered, he's inside.
Yeah,
Inside the cave.
right. Right, but they say that they made special walls and fences in order to make it that it's a different domain. We're talking about where there is no walls and fences, everything's open. Once you get into the area, you're in the same room technically as the body. Says number 4, this case of a house that shelters a corpse is perfectly analogous to the previous case of the tomb. Okay, so the case was there was a body in a house and they sealed the door. So the Gemara says, if they sealed the door but the frame is still there, so it only gives off tumah in front of the door. The Gemara says, but if you tore down the frame of the door and you sealed the house permanently, then if you approach the house within 4 amot of all sides, then it gives you tumah, just like a closed grave.
Which frame I'm talking about? This frame right here?
Yeah, let's say this is the only entrance to the house.
Correct. And
So
this
now
one-
we closed this door, we locked it, we sealed it.
Okay.
Only gives off tumah if you stand 4 amot in front of this door.
Correct.
But if we
Which
break
is
the frame,
outside.
if we break the frame, and now there's mamash, no entrance whatsoever, so now any side you approach to this house, it gives off tumah 4 amot. Because there's no official door anymore once you break the frame.
Any side.
You understand? So you see from this braita what? That breaking the frame changes the halacha.
So the frame is there.
Yes, but it's
Not
just sealed.
Just the door.
Yeah.
And next to the door there's a tumah.
On the other sides, no.
No other side. Okay. That's
Good. So what do we want from here? What we want from here is to show once you break the frame, now the halacha changes, and so too by us. The guy who broke the frame to the entrance to Wall Street, he lost his right to go to that side because he broke the frame. Amar Rabba, bottom left of A1. Amar Rabba Bar Chana Amar Yochanan. Mevuot mefulashot le'ir acheret. Let's say there's alleyways in a city that are open at one end and lead to roads to another city. Bikshu bnei ha'ir lesotman. And the residents of the first city sought to close off these alleyways to prevent residents of other cities from using them as a shortcut. Bnei ota ha'ir makvin alehen. The residents of the other city can legally prevent them from doing so, because the other city residents have always established a right to use these alleyways as a shortcut. This happens all the time, even by us. You have attached houses, and they have an alleyway in between. And people like to use the alleyway because they don't want to go on the traffic around the light, so they go through the alleyway to go to the other street, right? So the same thing over here. Now, the people who live and share that alleyway, they say, you know what? We want to close the other side. We want to make it a dead end. That way, nobody will just no through traffic. We don't want through traffic. Says the Gemara, the people who live on the other side, they can claim and say, no, you cannot close it. We have the right to go through. Since we always been going through, we have the right to go through. There's a concept of even a case where you have a private backyard. Let's say you have a person who develops land, right? There was a path that people always used to walk. In Muncie, it happens a lot. And people walk to shul, not on the street, because the street goes like this, it's very far to go out of your way to go to shul that way. So what do? They walk across the grass. They will cut across grass, a lot of, and they get to shul very fast. So let's say there was nobody owning this land. It was empty land, and people always use this path to go to shul. And all of a sudden, developers come, they develop the land, and now it becomes people's backyards. And now the people who have the backyard, they say, hey, I don't want you walking through my backyard anymore. I don't like it. It bothers me. So the halacha says, since they had this path first, you're not allowed to block these people from not going through your backyard.
That
They
does not make
continue
sense at all.
to have this path, and they have the right to go
But
through.
we say before, if you didn't say anything, I mean you agree with them.
Then what?
It means if you let them use
No,
your...
but it's naturally happening.
No, if you let them use your path to go,
Yeah.
so it means it doesn't bother
But this
you.
case is where nobody owned the land. They made it a path, and then you bought the land afterwards. And then it became private land. But since, Allah says, since they always had that right, and they were always using that path, you cannot come and take away that right from them. And the same thing over here. Since they always...
Who's paying the property tax? Who's paying the property tax?
You are.
I am the owner of
Yes,
the property.
yes.
I'm paying the property
Yes,
tax.
yes.
Therefore,
Yes.
if the developer, let's say, quote unquote, buys my property in order to
Yes.
and it includes that path,
It does.
I'm sorry. He has every right to do what he wants because he's paying the tax.
That's
for it.
not according to the Torah.
But that does not make
According to
sense.
the
Maybe-
Torah, the laws of neighbors say that you don't have the right to close off a publicly used path.
But this is
So,
one opinion.
so the question is, why they sell it?
So the
So why you shouldn't sell it?
so what happened was, whoever owned this before, and let's say the city or whoever owned this land before, they didn't say anything, and they allowed them to go and make this path. So that gave them the right to use it. That gave them the right to use it. Now that I bought the land from the city or whoever I bought it from, I don't have the right now as a new owner to kick these people out. Once the public has this right, I'm not able to take it
You
away.
should know this, basically.
Huh?
The buyer has to
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Rabbi, wasn't there a case in Germany where they want to build over the grave of rabbis or
No,
something like that?
that wasn't
and
the issue.
Tractor would break.
Yes, in Bulgaria, Rapapo.
Whatever.
Yeah. That was Hashem. Hashem blocked them. Yeah. What were you saying?
We saw a photo fly on a larger scale, like a walled city.
The what?
Entrances,
The what?
like,
Yeah, if the people had the right for through traffic, you're not able to stop them. You're not allowed to block them. You're not allowed to close it off once they have that right. If they've always been doing that, you can't stop them all of a sudden. Yeah, you should notify the person. You should notify the person.
But aren't there like things that you can give them a different path?
Yeah, but you cannot just cut them off cold turkey. Lo mebaye, says the Gemara on the right side. Lo mebaye ki leka darka achrina me'akvi. Here you go. Here's what we were saying. It is not necessary to say that the residents may prevent the closing the alleyway when there's no other route between the two cities, because the alleyway is the only route. Even when there's another route that exists and the alleyway is just a shortcut, nami ma'akvi, the residents of the other city can legally prevent the closure of the alleyway. Why? Mishum de Rav Yehuda Amarav, da Amar, Metzah shechziku bo rabim, asur lekalkalo. Because this is the case of the ruling of Rav Yehuda, name of Rav, that says a private boundary strip on which the public established a right of way may not be ruined by its owner. Number 6. Go ahead, Michal, please. Number 6.
in the days of Damo, fields were generally separated by narrow strips of land that were higher or lower than the fields themselves. These strips would occasionally be used by the members of the public as shortcuts to their own fields. Rav Yehuda ruled that if a property owner stood by while the public established a right of way on his boundary strip and did not object, he could not afterwards ruin their walkway and reclaim the strip for his own private use.
Oh, good. So you see that this is the laws of neighbors. Once somebody allows public to use it, you cannot go and ruin it later.
It's not the same case as ours, Rabbi.
Well, you saying because this guy never complained.
First, we didn't object. Second of all, he said that the only way to get to their field was to get to his field. It doesn't apply to us today.
No, but the Gemara is saying even if you have another way, as long as this is a shortcut, you could still stop it.
Correct, but still, he didn't object. And,
Right.
And they have to go through his field.
Right.
So I don't think it applies to. I don't think it's such a short.
Let's see. We're going to discuss this now. Yeah. We're going to skip this other part. Okay. Bottom paragraph. Amar Rav Anan, Amar Shmuel. Mevod mefulashim leshut rabim. If the alleyways of a city are completely open to a public thoroughfare at one end, bikshu bnei mavod na'amid lahem dlatot, and the residents of the alleyway want to make doors for the entrance so that travelers on the public thoroughfare could not enter the alleyway. The users of the public thoroughfare can prevent the residents of the alleys from erecting these doors. Why? Because 10, for when the public road becomes congested, the traffic finds an outlet in the alleyway. The flow of traffic into the mavui cannot be restricted, for the mavui is considered a boundary that the public has established for a path, and the right-of-way cannot be abrogated. So what happens? You had a big main street, and you have an alleyway off of Main Street. And what do? When it's a very busy day, like a Friday, there's so much traffic. So what they do is, to get around the mob of people, they used to go into the alleyway to go around as a shortcut. So since they've always been doing that, and now people in the alleyway want to make doors to block these people from going into the alleyway, and only if you have a key you could get in. Says the Gemara, the people of Main Street can complain and say, no, we always use this alleyway as like a shortcut to go around the people when there's too much traffic. Since we always had that right, you don't have the ability to take away that right from us. You don't have the ability to say, oh, it's our area, we'll kick you out. Says the Gemara, 12a2, Savar mina hani mili bar ba'amot. We originally thought to say this only applies to a door being erected within 4 amot, the entrance of the mavui. Kid Rav Zera Rav Nachman. The Amar Rav Zera Rav Nachman, like the ruling of Rav Zera, the name of Rav Nachman, that he said, Arba amot smuchot reshut rabim, ki reshut rabim damya. The 4 amot next to the public domain is treated like the domain, like the public domain. So therefore we thought that they can only block them from making a door within 4 amot of the mavui. But if they want to make doors deeper into the alleyway, more than 4 amot away from their reshut rabim, it's totally their right. Well, yeah, they can make doors more than 4 amot away from the entrance of the alleyway. Why not? But the Gemara says, Velohi, and it's not true. They cannot make doors within 4 amot, even deeper than 4 amot in the alleyway. Why? Hatam le'inyan tumah. Rav Zera said the 4 amot is regarded to like public domain only in regards to impurity. But over here, in our case, the alley, sometimes the people who are from the public domain go deep into the alleyway more than 4 amot. Why? Because maybe there's so much traffic, they're going to go even deeper than 4 amot. So therefore, even more than 4 amot, you cannot make a door.
It's also established that if they had a previous door and tore it down, that
No, this is just teaching you the concept that once somebody gets something right for the usage of somebody else's property, you cannot take it away. This is the.
you can't build a door.
Yeah, you can't block that person, right? You can't build a door to block the person from using that right. Okay, good. So what does it mean that the 4 amot next to the public domain is like public domain? So the Gemara says it was only for a tumah. What is halakha? Let's say you have a doubt about if something is tameh or not. Let's say a Kohen cannot touch one of the 8 crawling, creepy crawling creatures, right? One of them is like a dead squirrel, let's say, right? So he doesn't know if this is one of the creepy crawly creatures or not. He has a suffix, he has a doubt, right? Or he doesn't know if he was carrying his truma when he would touch the animal or not. He didn't remember. So he has a suffix, he has a doubt. What do you do when there's suffix tuma? The Gemara says, Halacha Moshe Misinai. If you're in a public domain, we assume it's pure. And if you're in a private domain, we assume it's impure. Because just like Sotah is assumed to be impure until you prove her innocent with the water, and she does her sin in a private domain. And we learn from there, in a public domain, any doubts are assumed to be pure. So if you say that those 4 amot next to public domain is like public domain, so whenever I have a doubt of Tumah in that area, it's like a Reshut Rabim, public domain, and therefore it's assumed to be Tahor. But if it's deeper than 4 amot, so then it's going to be treated like a private domain. A private domain, we always assume a Safek is Tameh. So therefore that's what it means. Rav Zera said, 4 amot next to the public domain is like public domain. But in regards to people avoiding traffic and using the alleyway as a shortcut, even deeper than 4 amot, the Gemara says they would use, and even deeper than 4 amot, you cannot make a door. Velo et sadeh, bottom left. Velo et sadeh, achi ebe tisha kabin lezeh. So back to the Mishnah that we said that when you want to split a field, you need to have 9 kabin to give to this partner and 9 kabin to give to that partner. So the Gemara says, the Yehuda says, no, 9.5 kavs to each one. So the Gemara says it's not an argument between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda. They don't argue. Marki atre. Rather, each one is going according to the soil quality in his place. In the Tanakama's place, 9 kavin, because the soil quality was so good, that would be enough of a land to give you profit. So therefore you want to have a field, you have 2 partners, you can only split it against each other's will when there's going to be 9 kavin for each one, which we said was what? We said was around a couple hundred square feet. I forget what it was again. Let's go do the calculation again. We have 9 kabin, which is area. Let's see. Bet rova betzea ama. 1 second. How much is a kav? 1 second. 9 kabin. 9 kabin. 1 second. How much se'ah is a kav? I have to go back to the Mishnah. Where's the Mishnah? You guys remember where the Mishnah is? Here it is. 1 second. Here. It's on 11a2, the Mishnah. So a kav is 3,750 square amot. Okay? So how much is 3,750 amot? Let's see. To convert it, 3,750. 864 square meters. Okay, how much is that in square feet? 864 meters to feet. Meters
2.2.
to feet. Let's see. 1 meter. 1 second.
Like something
36 by
6,000.
64.
1 second.
That's not big.
1 second.
By night, you say, right? By night.
Meters to feet. Here. What did we say? We said 864. 864. 2,834 feet. Okay, so let's round it up. 2,800 square feet is 9 kav. So if you have 2,900 square feet for this partner and 2,900 square feet for this partner, you're allowed to split the field because it's enough land to make a profit off of this land. Rabbi Yehuda says no. You need to have 9.5 kav. You need to have 3,000 square feet for each one. Why are they arguing? The Gemara says they don't argue. Each one lived in a different place, and the soil quality is what they're arguing about. In Rabbi Yehuda's area where he lived, 2,800 square feet is not enough to make a profit. The soil quality is not good, so you need more. You need 3,000. But in Tanakama where he lived, no, even 2,800 is enough because the soil quality gives off good fruit. It says the Gemara Bebavel Mai in Babylon, which is a different area completely. What is the smallest amount of field that will give you profit? It says the Gemara Amar Yosef. We'll stop over here. Beradu Yoma. Each partner must receive an area that takes a full day to plow, because that's enough of a land that will give you profit. 18. Oxen had to be rented for a full day, even if they were only needed for one part of the day. It was thus unprofitable to rent them for less than a full day's work. So if you're going to go have a small field that only takes half a day to plow, and you're going to have to rent an ox to plow, and you pay for the whole day, you're going to lose money because you're going to have to pay for more time than you actually need. So therefore, the only smallest amount of field you can split with somebody is if he'll have enough field that he'll be able to work the whole day with the ox that he has to rent to plow the field. Baruch T'nai Olam. Amen. Amen.